the same engineering that makes men not express themselves to themselves, right? Is the same engineering that makes them not express themselves to you. Men don't cry. So the first time I cried as a man, it was the most difficult, like, and burning sensation you could possibly have in your chest. Walk into the office at my old job and I sit down and just start crying. My eyes are bloodshot. I'm just bawling. Crying that just like it hurts so bad that it starts to feel so good. I'm talking about the kind of crying where you're grabbing a table and you just your teeth come so far out you might chew the table because you want to feel something. You just it's like when you're vomiting, and you just and it just feels like after a while it starts to feel good. You're just like, just get this whole thing out. It's like growing up, your father tells you or your environment tells you that that's just what being a man is. You don't dwell in the pain. You don't sit in the pain. I'm the best Cambodian breast. No. Okay, seriously. I became, I guess, the image of the weakness that I had been told was the image of weakness, a man crying. For the sake of Men's Mental Health Month, I feel like we should discuss these things. And this is one period in my life where I will not possibly be here or have had the mental tenacity to actually tackle anything without philosophy. Like if the ability to go full stoic and like just dive head deep into philosophies was one of the most beautiful, should I say, discoveries of my life, because, it helped me understand life from many perspectives and also helped me like understand its intricacies and how sometimes things aren't happening to you, right? They're either happening for you or they're just happening. And you are also happening to them. It is a constant flow and a constant motion, right? So with that being said, it's like nothing in life remains at zero, right? You could either, and even if you stayed at zero too long, eventually you master zero, right? You become good at something. There is no way to really lose at this, because you could lose so long, you become so good at losing that it just becomes a space that you've mastered, whether it is like the strategies or the networks of something that you're just failing at. Eventually, all the weak spots because you've been to all the weak spots. And that's the beauty of it. And that was the enlightenment that pretty much kept me going and pretty much kept me like, solid. Because I was like, yo, like if I'm at zero, if I'm at the bottom, if I stay here long enough, if I've been here long enough, I know how this works. The only way else is up. The only way else is up. Reason why this entire crash out was happening was because I believed this philosophy that men had, which was you get better, you get good at a certain thing or a certain skill, and life will just pave the way for you and it'll all work out. Which is why I understand exactly where this whole male loneliness rhetoric or incel culture is coming from, because like, I get it. If you learn a certain way to live or, that's supposed to give you a good life and you get all those things or do all those things and you don't get that result, it's frustrating, but how you express that frustration is now where, the different types of men are made yourself. I mean, at the same time, it's also important to know which one is your voice and which one is everyone else's voice, because it can be really hard to hear your own voice when you're around people. If you're surrounded by people, and you're always around people, it can be very hard to know what exactly it is that you are saying. And that's something, a muscle that I've worked on my entire life. Men are very sensitive, and not in the way that, men are sassy, none of that. Okay, let's stop. But in the sense of like, reality is cruel, nature is unyielding, and things happen along the way. And a lot of the engineering and the ways in which we have taught men to be or handle their problems don't work anymore for some of the problems that men are facing. Like that hard pivot or, push through idea doesn't work with emotions. And that's the thing that makes it so difficult. And that's why a lot of men get stuck, because it's kind of like, I'm trying everything I can, I'm doing everything I can, and it's still not, but it's because you have to sit with those emotions and you have to break them down and you have to address them as they come. And you have to be the loser in your own story to some extent. You have to admit the ways and the areas in which you're a loser. Like, it's what it comes with. Like, I don't sit here, and that's why I think I'm very indifferent to praise. And when people, say, how do you feel about certain things? I'm like, yo, I'm the winner and the loser. I've been both. I am both constantly. And that's what life is about. capitalism teaches you this perspective where you can shift narratives and titles whenever you want. And people sit up here and say, I'm a god, I'm a deity, I'm more, I'm a champ, whatever. And it's all capitalism, really. You know, it's just a different face of the same elitist battle. But before we go off on another tangent, I say all that to say, give grace to the men in your life, give grace to the men around you, and just have the dialogue. And I say men are sensitive because when a man expresses himself to you and gives you the innermost workings of himself, that is not your chance to even, and even not even with that, like the little things, his favorite show, his favorite sneaker, his favorite t-shirt, his favorite like artist, just these things do affect men sometimes from what I've seen, you know? And I always hear women say things like, I don't even know what I did. I don't even know what happened. And it's like, it's a very nuanced thing because the same engineering, if you know what shadow work is, but shadow work apparently is when you actually go to the deepest, darkest depths of yourself and address and face what it is that you have become, what it is that you're dealing with. And I had to, you know, call myself out on my weaknesses, on my insecurities, on the things that bothered me as to why I wasn't happy or why I was shaken up. And I had to admit to myself where my shortcomings were without blaming anyone. What my shortcomings were just all because I did those things. You know, I approached life from that direction. I thought it was the right way to do it, but I had to be honest with myself. If this was not anyone else's thing, this was stuff that I thought worked and it just didn't. And there's no one to blame, you know, but at the same time, I deserve the grace to navigate this and find my way out without beating up the person, the self that got me to where I'm at right now. I know it's strange, it's weird, but it's true. And of course, I don't want to paint all men with a broad brush. This isn't all men, but this is a majority and the most constant, consistent type of problem that you face with the male gender. But once again, this was Men Are Simple. Thank you for tuning in. You don't have to listen to me ramble. I make coffee, but